My name is Eleanor Ruth Caldwell. I am 101 years old, and I am about to tell you something that is going to make every neurologist and diet guru in America very uncomfortable. My mind is sharper today than my 50-year-old son's. He comes to visit me on Sundays, and half the time he walks into my kitchen and forgets why he came in. He loses his car keys, he misses his appointments, and he relies on a little glowing screen in his pocket to remember his own wedding anniversary. If he has to drive to a hardware store he has been visiting for 10 years, he turns on a machine to tell him how to get there. He has outsourced his entire brain to a piece of plastic. I do not use a smartphone. I do not use brain training applications on a computer. I do not take expensive cognitive supplements from the pharmacy that promise to unlock my memory. I simply avoid one specific food. I have not let it cross my lips since 1978, and while all my friends who ate it are either in the ground or sitting in a home unable to recognize their own children, I am still here, reading 2 historical biographies a week and managing my own finances down to the penny. Now, before you scroll away to watch another 15-second video of someone doing a silly dance on your phone, let me tell you a story. Back in 1985, I went to see a Dr. Aris for a routine checkup. I was in my early 60s, and the whole country had suddenly gone completely mad for a new kind of diet. Dr. Aris sat behind his big mahogany desk, looked at my blood chart, sighed, and told me I needed to get with the times. He said the natural butter, the whole eggs, and the beef tallow I had been cooking with my entire life were going to clog my brain and stop my heart. He handed me a glossy pamphlet for a new, modern way of eating. He told me to switch to margarine. He told me to start cooking with industrial seed oils, corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil because they were scientifically engineered to be better for me. He spoke to me slowly, like I was a simpleton who couldn't grasp the miracles of modern medicine. You want to know where Dr. Aris is right now? Greenmount Cemetery, plot 204. He passed away at 72, and in his final years his mind deteriorated so badly he didn't even know his own name. I am still here, and my mind is as clear as a winter morning. Let me tell you exactly what I stopped eating. I completely cut out artificial, factory-made fats, margarine, seed oils, and all that synthetic yellow plastic they tried to pass off as butter in the 70s and 80s. I refused it. They told me for decades that I was stubborn. They said I was clinging to the past. They said I was playing Russian roulette with my arteries. Well, I have been pulling that trigger 3 times a day for my entire life, and I am standing here at 101, while the experts who told me to eat laboratory oil are underground. You want to know what your brain is actually made of? It is made of fat and water. The human brain is nearly 60% fat. God and nature provided everything we needed to build a strong, resilient mind. We had butter from cows that ate actual grass. We had tallow. We had olive oil pressed directly from real fruit. But some men in a laboratory decided they were smarter than nature. They took seeds that you cannot even squeeze oil from with your bare hands, soaked them in chemical solvents, heated them until they turned gray, bleached them to remove the terrible smell, deodorized them, and bottled them in clear plastic. Then they spent millions of dollars on television advertisements to convince you and me that this industrial machine lubricant was the ultimate secret to a long life. People nowadays are terrified of real food. You walk down the aisle of a modern grocery store, and everything is low-fat, zero cholesterol, fortified with synthetic vitamins, and cooked in these cheap, rancid seed oils. And what has happened? We have an entire generation of people who feel like they have a thick, heavy cloud over their brains by the time they reach 40 years old. They call it brain fog. They think it is perfectly normal to be completely exhausted by 2 in the afternoon. They think it is normal to forget names, to lose their train of thought mid-sentence, and to feel overwhelmed by simple tasks. It is not normal. You are feeding a miraculous biological machine with cheap synthetic fuel, and you are wondering why the engine is stuttering and shutting down. My grandmother lived to be 98 years old. She cooked every single meal in a heavy cast iron skillet with real butter or beef fat. She never forgot a birthday, she never lost her sharp wit, and she could do complex arithmetic in her head until the week she passed away. When they introduced all these new chemical fats, I tried them for about a month. I felt sluggish. My thoughts felt thick, like I was trying to run underwater. My joints ached, and I could not concentrate on a book for more than 10 minutes. I threw it all in the garbage and went back to the simple, real food my grandmother ate. I eat eggs with the yolks. I eat real butter. I eat meat. I give my brain the actual biological building blocks it is begging for, not a cheap plastic substitute made in a chemical processing plant. You do not need 47 exotic superfoods shipped from the rainforest to keep your mind sharp. You need to stop poisoning yourself with things that were never meant to be swallowed in the first place. But now I am going to tell you something, and you are not going to like it. What you put on your dinner plate is only half the battle. You can avoid every single drop of bad oil. You can eat the purest butter and the finest cuts of meat, and your mind will still rot if your spirit is empty. I have seen it happen time and time again. The mind does not just decay from bad food, it decays from a lack of use, and worse, it decays from bitterness. I had a dear friend named Evelyn back in the 1990s. Evelyn was absolutely meticulous about her health. She read every single medical journal she could get her hands on. She weighed her portions on a little digital kitchen scale. She took 14 different vitamins every morning, and she treated her body like a temple. But Evelyn's mind started slipping when she was just 70. By 75, she was entirely gone. Do you want to know what actually destroyed Evelyn's mind? It wasn't her diet, it was her anger. She spent 35 years holding a vicious grudge against her ex-husband. She woke up angry, she went to sleep angry, and she carried that resentment around like a backpack full of heavy rocks. She isolated herself. She stopped going to church, she stopped visiting her neighbors, and she just sat in her immaculate silent house, running over old arguments in her head day after day. Your brain is a tool. If you only use it to dig up old pain and replay ancient miseries, it will eventually break under the strain. Evelyn's memory didn't just fail her. Her mind simply decided it didn't want to live in that dark, bitter reality anymore, so it checked out. The bitterness killed her spirit long before the dementia took her memory. Here is what actually keeps your mind sharp. You need a reason to remember. You need a reason to wake up. I am 101 years old, and my calendar is full. I wake up at 6 o'clock every morning because I have a garden that expects me to tend to it. I have a neighbor 2 doors down who is legally blind, and I go over to read his mail to him on Tuesday mornings. I have a great-granddaughter who calls me every Thursday evening to tell me about her college classes, and I make sure I remember the names of her professors so I can ask her about them next week. I have to stay sharp because people are counting on me. You are not built to live in isolation. You are not built to sit in a recliner for 10 hours a day staring at a television screen that is deliberately designed to make you terrified of the outside world. I stopped watching the evening news in 1989. People told me I would be uninformed. I told them I would rather be uninformed than constantly paralyzed by fear over things I cannot control. And look what happened. The people who sat glued to those screens, absorbing panic and tragedy every single night, aged 20 years in a decade. Their worlds got smaller. They stopped trusting their neighbors. They stopped going out. Their minds withered because a mind fed exclusively on fear will inevitably shut down to protect itself. If you want to keep your brain alive, you have to feed it with life. You need real people, not text messages, not likes on a computer screen. You need to sit in a room with a human being, look them directly in the eye, and listen to the tone of their voice. You need people who will laugh with you until your ribs ache, and people who will sit in absolute silence with you when the grief is too heavy to speak. And you absolutely must forgive people. I am going to say that again so you hear me clearly. Forgive them, not because they have earned your forgiveness. Most of the time, they haven't earned a damn thing. You forgive them because you deserve peace. I carried a silent Cold War with my own brother for 8 years over a foolish argument regarding our parents' estate. 8 years of holidays missed. 8 years of stiff, uncomfortable nods in the grocery store. When he died suddenly of a massive heart attack in 1994, I was left standing there with a box full of righteous anger and absolutely nowhere to put it. I realized far too late that I had traded 8 years of my brother's love for a useless, hollow piece of pride. You cannot get that time back. Let go of the hate. Life is entirely too short to keep a scorecard. That hate is a poison, and you are the one drinking it, expecting the other person to die. You have to learn to laugh at the absolute absurdity of it all. Life is going to break your heart. That is the one ironclad guarantee you get when you are born into this world. You are going to lose the people you love. You are going to fail at things you care about. You are going to face mornings where the grief feels like a physical weight sitting directly on your chest. I buried my husband, Arthur, 25 years ago. He was the love of my life, the anchor of my soul for 60 years. The day after his funeral, I sat at this very kitchen table, staring at his empty coffee cup, crying so hard I could barely pull breath into my lungs. My old barn cat jumped up on the table, knocked the cup onto the floor, shattering it into a dozen pieces, and then looked at me like it was my fault. I looked at that mess, and I started to laugh. I laughed until I cried, and I cried until I laughed again. That is how you survive. You let the profound joy and the crushing sorrow sit right next to each other, and you accept them both. I am 101 years old. I do not have the luxury of pretending I have unlimited time. My ticket could be punched a year from now, a month from now, or before I even finish speaking this sentence. So I am going to tell you the most important thing I have learned in a century on this earth. You are wasting your life. You are wasting it because you are waiting. You are waiting for the perfect time. You are waiting until you lose 20 pounds before you take that vacation. You are waiting until you have more money in the bank before you start that project you have been dreaming about. You are waiting until you feel perfectly confident before you tell that person you love them. You are waiting for someday. Let me tell you the absolute truth about someday. Someday is a lie. Someday does not exist. It is a cruel trick your mind plays on you to keep you safe from the risk of living right now. I had a friend named Margaret. Margaret worked with me at the telephone exchange in the 1960s. Every day on our lunch break, Margaret would talk about a little wooden cottage she was going to buy on the rocky coast of Maine. She had glossy brochures, she had a special savings account, and she had a master plan. Just 5 more years, she would say to me while we ate our sandwiches. Just 5 more years to build up the pension, and then I am really going to live. Margaret never saw the coast of Maine. She collapsed in the hallway of her apartment building at the age of 61. Never bought the cottage. Never walked on that beach. She spent 40 years preparing to live, and she died in the waiting room. Do not be Margaret. Drop the fake plastic food, throw away the chemical oils, and eat the simple, nourishing things your grandparents ate to keep your mind sharp. But more importantly, drop the heavy grudges. Drop the paralyzing fear. Find a reason to wake up tomorrow morning that involves serving someone other than yourself. And for God's sake, stop waiting. There is no perfect moment. The stars will never perfectly align for you to begin your life. There is only right now. I eat real food, and I live a real, unfiltered life, and that is why my mind is sharp enough to tell you this truth today. Doctors cannot explain it because they are looking for a complex medical formula, a new pharmaceutical pill, or a magic ratio of synthetic vitamins. But there is no magic hat. There is just real food, real connection, real forgiveness, and absolute presence in the moment you are currently given. That is the secret, and it has been sitting right in front of you your entire life. Now, go throw out that plastic butter, make yourself a real meal, and call someone you love. Subscribe to my channel, and do not forget to like and share.